Hello, Oilers fans. Austin here, and welcome back to another video. Yes, 2 videos in a row in consecutive days. Hockey news and hockey season is truly around the corner, and I'm excited to be back making content for everyone. Now, I did want to discuss more of the offer sheet situation from yesterday's St. Louis Blues offers to Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway, and there was a tweet that came out. It was quoting Elliotte Friedman today, and I wanted to quickly talk about that, and then I wanted to talk about how the Oilers could match both offer sheets and whether they should, and then I'll also break down what the Oilers depth chart and lineup would look like with both of them in the lineup, and if we were to lose both of them, and what is worth it more to me as a fan of this team. So the first thing we're going to look at is Elliotte Friedman's quote, and I think it's really funny, and I'm going to have some thoughts on this. So Elliotte Friedman said, if the Oilers wanted to trade Cody Ceci, they could. They had options, but I don't know yet that's really what they want to do. However, now that St. Louis has done this, they might be boxed into it and forced into it. And I'm just going to say this right now. No disrespect to Cody Ceci. But if the St. Louis Blues offer sheeting 2 of Edmonton's young, promising, up-and-coming players makes this team finally trade Cody Ceci and get him off the team and ever allow those two to play together, that's Nurse and Ceci, I will be the happiest person alive. I have wanted Cody Ceci out of here for a very long time. I do think he has value, not where they try and play him. They usually try and play him with Darnell Nurse. That's where the majority of his minutes have come from. But the Oilers played a lot better in the playoffs when they finally split them apart. Every time they were put back together, it was an absolute fire sale in the defensive zone. If this is what finally makes the Edmonton Oilers trade and move on from Cody Ceci, I don't care what you get for him at this point. I don't care if you have to attach a second or a third round pick just to move him. Sorry, I'm getting all worked up now. If that's what you have to do, you absolutely do it. Cody Ceci has value. There are teams around the league that think he has value. He's someone that can be slotted into a lineup in this third pair. There's going to be teams that are always looking for defensive depth. So if this is what it takes, please, let's do it. Of course, this is contingent on the Oilers accepting or matching both offer sheets. If they don't want to match either of them, I obviously think you have to keep Cody Ceci at that point, because then you're just trading him for nothing, and the defense group is already starting to look pretty thin with Philip Broberg out of the equation. So with saying that, here's how the Oilers could use the salary cap to their favor and how they could match both offers. So right now, their current salary cap situation, they are at negative $354,167 under or over the cap, sorry. Philip Broberg's deal, 4.58. Dylan Holloway's deal, 2.29. It's actually shade over both, but I only rounded to the nearest 10th there. Or 100th. The cost, $7.224 million. To make the money work and allow the offer sheets to be matched and then have them both in the lineup when the season starts, you could trade Cody Ceci, again, assuming you're not retaining on him, and you might have to attach a pick to get rid of him, and then Evander Kane on LTIR once the season starts. That gives them a savings of $8.375 million, or a net total savings of $1.151 million. Of course, before the season starts, because you do have to be salary cap compliant before you place a player on LTIR when the season begins, they would have to waive 1 or 2 players just to make the money work initially, and then once Kane is placed on LTIR officially, then you can move those players back up from waivers if you have to. Not sure which players they would end up doing that with. They might have to use 2 or 3 players in order to do that and make it work, but that is the current situation right now. And I also did just put a reminder what the compensation would be if the Oilers did not match Broberg's or Holloway's sheets. Holloway, it's a 3rd-round pick. Broberg, it's a 2nd-round pick. Now, let's take a look at the lineup with both of those players still in the Oilers lineup right now on the depth chart. So, on the bottom left, I do have a little bit of a legend. 1 star, possible trade. 2 stars, possible call-up. 3 stars, LTIR. 4 stars, offer sheet. Just so that everyone that's watching this right now has an idea of what the current situation is with the Oilers lineup and depth chart. Evander Kane, he's the 3 stars, so LTIR is what we're assuming for him. Dylan Holloway has signed the offer sheet. Philip Broberg signed the offer sheet. Cody Ceci, possible trade. We'll see what happens here, but this is what the depth chart looks like, assuming they're able to make everything work and keep everyone on the current roster. I do believe Broberg would be slotting into the top 4. However, if he needed to move down a little bit and play on the 3rd pair, that could happen, because we're looking for Broberg to prove that he can play top 4 minutes right now. And I would say half of his playoff games, he passed that test, and the other half, he did look shaky. So I'd like to see a larger sample size before I judge him too harshly on that. There are a few people that pointed that out in yesterday's video, which I do appreciate the feedback. Broberg obviously stepped into a very tough situation during the postseason. They asked a lot of him, and for what he was able to accomplish, it's very impressive. I understand where the money might be coming from on St. Louis's end, and I understand why a player like Broberg would be accepting a contract like that when you're a young player. Your career and money is never guaranteed in life, and careers are short. So of course, I'm never going to get mad at the player for signing that. And I also saw a lot of fans complaining that, oh, other guys are taking less to win a Stanley Cup. So why didn't Broberg take less, or Holloway? Well, Broberg and Holloway have not had established NHL careers. Their career earnings are very, very low compared to, say, a Leon Draisaitl, who's going to re-sign soon, and Evan Bouchard, who's going to re-sign soon, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who made a lot of money before he signed his extension. So it's a little bit different when you have established veteran players who have made $20, $30, or $40 million before they sign their next deal with a cup contender. When it comes to young players, Philip Broberg, Dylan Holloway, I understand the logic in signing for as much as you can. And if a team is going to offer that, which the Blues did, Doug Armstrong did off the Blues, of course you're going to accept that as a young player. Like I said, there's never guarantees in life. There's never guarantees with these careers. These players are young, and it makes sense to me. Now, let's take a look at the Oilers lineup without Holloway or Broberg in the lineup, because this is where things get a little bit dicey with the depth chart, and this is where their value comes into play. So if you take Dylan Holloway out of the lineup, you have Kane, who will be on LTIR, Henrique and Brown on that third line, Janmark Ryan and James Hamblin, who I would assume would be a call-up option for Edmonton, and then Perry and Savoy, who is also another call-up option. On defense, you would have Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, Stetcher, Kulak, Ceci, and then Patrick Brown. In net, you have Skinner and Pickard, but look at that defensive group there. Do you want Troy Stetcher playing top 4 minutes with Darnell Nurse? Do you want Cody Ceci back up with Darnell Nurse? And this is assuming that they don't match either offer. This is like worst case scenario. They don't match either offer. They get the second and third round pick, and this is what they would be going into preseason with on their depth charts. The forward group, the top 6 looks good. The bottom 6, when Kane's healthy, looks better, but it's a little shaky. But it's the defensive core that looks really, really shaky. That bottom 4, Nurse, Stetcher, Kulak, Ceci. Can they play good enough to sustain this team and get to the playoffs? Of course, there's other variables. There's trade deadline. There's all that stuff. But that's what the depth chart would look like if the Oilers do not accept either of these offer sheets, if they don't match either of them. So what do you all think the Oilers should do? When I'm looking at the depth chart here, obviously there's a lot of value here in having Holloway and Broberg not in the lineups. That's big. I say the Oilers do what they need to do, which I've calculated here. Trade Ceci if you have to. LTIR Kane. Do what you need to do with the waivers before the season starts, before you can officially have Kane on LTIR, and that makes your money work, right? That's what I'm thinking they should do. I think they should keep both. Of course, Draisaitl's raise will come in next year. Same with Bouchard. However, Broberg, if they were to match the offer, they could trade him after 1 year. So if they were to say accept the offer tonight, which is August 14th, after August 14th next year, before the next season starts in 2025-26, they could then trade Philip Broberg. They would not be able to trade him during the season. Same with Dylan Holloway. So you could, say short term, there's a money issue. Long term, you might still be able to move those players if they really had to make the money work to have Draisaitl and Bouchard remain. So let me know what you all think. It is very interesting. There is lots to talk about. I'm excited to continue to make more videos. If you liked today's video, make sure you hit like. If you really liked it, make sure you hit subscribe. Tell someone that you love them, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.